Good evening, everyone. We will now begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for blessings and protection received while participating in the construction of paradise on earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Amahara ni kamuzumarimasu kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite sumemi ya kamu izanagi no mikoto tsukushi no himuka no tachihara no odo no ahagi hara ni misogi hara itamo toki ni narimaseru araido no okami tachi moro moro no magagu totsumi kegareo arai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio Amatsu kami kunitsu kami ao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni ame no fuchi koma no mimi furi tatete kikoshi mese to kashikomi mo maosu Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hai tamae Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hai tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hai tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hai tamae Kamnagara tamachi hai mase Kamnagara tamachi hai mase Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for a group Johrei. May God, Meishu-sama, bless you. Meishu-sama's teaching this evening is entitled Humanity's Mission is from Daily Inspirations, page 20. God gave us life, precious life. Let us respect and treasure it by living in harmony with God's divine law. Every soul is an individual part of God's total self. Let us cleanse our souls and restore them to their divine state. One who is aware of how precious and priceless life is realizes God's divine nature within, our true spiritual essence. A human being, often called a child of God, is also referred to as God's temple. This is because a person's soul, the center of his or her being, is an individualized part of God that has come to earth with a mission assigned by God. This soul is also referred to as the primary spirit. After birth, another spirit, which is animalistic in nature, enters the body. It is called the secondary spirit. Since the primary spirit is divine in nature, it is the center of spiritual consciousness. The secondary spirit is the exact opposite, the source of all negative ideas. There is yet another spirit in contact with an individual. It is the guardian spirit. In Japan, it is selected from among the individual's ancestors at birth. From the spiritual realm, it protects and guides the person in its charge. The secondary spirit encourages the person to act wrongfully, while the guardian spirit tries to guide the person to do virtuous deeds. But above both of these is the primary spirit, which instructs the person to do only good and virtuous acts. Therefore, it is important to strengthen the power of one's primary spirit. This power is fundamental to conquering of negativity. Each person should strive always to strengthen their primary spirit. The best way to achieve this is to pray to God and deepen one's faith. It's the only path to attain true happiness. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. I would like to share this faith experience from Luisa Maria Gomes Guedes Teixeira. She's from Oporto, Johrei Center, Portugal. While Luisa was with her mother in a cafe that they usually go to, a man approached them selling the magazine Cais. This is a magazine created by an association of the same name, which is sold by people in social and economic need. As her mother had already bought the magazine before, they didn't buy it. But from then on, this man started talking to them about his financial problems, loneliness, and illness. Luisa was very moved by his situation and intuitively invited him to know about Johrei. He simply said that it was a good thing for him and that he would consider it. As he had no money for public transportation, Luisa accompanied him to the Johrei Center, paying for his ticket. Arriving at the church, she channeled Johrei to him and then introduced him to the minister, who gave him great attention and also channeled Johrei to him. They were at the church for about 60 minutes, and on their way back home, she also paid for his return ticket. They said goodbye to each other, and while she went home, he went to try to sell more magazines at the Boa Vista roundabout. The next day in the morning, When she went to work, she ran into that man in the street, finding him very happy. He approached her to thank her for taking him to our church. He told her that after they said goodbye to each other, he sold 10 magazines in 20 minutes, and with that money, he was able to buy food. Many times, not even for a whole day, he managed to sell so many magazines. Louisa was so happy that tears came to her eyes, and she was moved with gratitude for the hand of God and Meishu-sama in his life. The only thing she did was to put in God's hands her desire to make him happy. The result is what she just reported. A few days later, he came back to church again and told her that he was sleeping better too. This man was not the first person Louisa has guided to our church, but whenever she manages to guide someone, it is like the first time for her because she feels immense happiness and joy. According to her minister, the joy she feels is God's joy, and that makes her even happier. Louisa's commitment is to continue to follow up on this man until he also becomes a pioneer of salvation in other people's lives. Very nice experience from Oporto, Portugal. Then I'd like to share one more. This is from Ana Paula Sat. She's from the Campo Belo Johrei Center in Brazil. Ana Paula has been a Johrei member for 7 years, and although she has always dedicated and sought to practice the guidance she had been receiving, she has only recently understood the true meaning of serving the divine work. In January 2020, a strong anguish manifested in Ana Paula, which led her to cry for no reason. In talking to her minister, she was guided on the importance of growing in faith, committing herself to the salvation of others, and to handing problems over to God and Meishu-sama. Soon after, social isolation began as a result of the pandemic. She lives alone and has intensified the basic practices of faith at home. She watched the online daily services from the headquarters there in Brazil, read the teachings of Meishu-sama, which she was not doing intensively before, and continued to materialize monetary offerings of gratitude. Following her minister's guidance to grow in faith and commit herself to the salvation of others, Ana Paula remembered a frequent visitor who suffered from depression. She channeled Johrei to him in the church before the pandemic. His number was saved on her cell phone, so she texted him. He quickly gave her a reply. He said he was still depressed and was not getting Johrei. Thus, Ana Paula called him daily to listen to him and also forward the teaching and faith experience of the day, as well as directing him to attend the daily online services from their headquarters. He told her that with these practices, he felt better every day and that he looked forward to the teaching and experience she would send. With the gradual reopening of the Johrei Center, he once again received Johrei. Currently, he is much better than from his depression, and he has already started the membership classes. In this way, Ana Paula got in touch with several people. She shared the teaching of the day and invited them to attend the online services. By spiritually supporting these people and intensifying our practice of faith, she realized a great change occurred in her. Her feelings were being transformed, and she was able to see daily blessings and miracles in her life. She stopped having anguish and crying for no reason. She felt useful, and the only thing she asked God and Meishu-sama was to utilize her as an instrument in the divine work. With a heart full of joy, Ana Paula is very thankful to God, Meishu-sama, and her ancestors for overcoming her purification. Above all, for growing in faith, learning that the true meaning of our movement is to provide happiness to others. putting them in contact with the divine light, and leading them to the path of salvation. Thank you very much for listening to these two faith experiences. I wish you a very blessed evening, and with this concludes our evening service. Thank you very much.